there's this very specific kind of silence, isn't there? You're talking to someone you love, maybe your adult kid or your own parent, and you say something that in your heart feels so supportive, maybe even protective.
You're coming from a place of love.
Exactly. And then just nothing. The air just goes out of the room.
Oh, yeah. You can almost feel the temperature drop. It's like a physical distance opens up.
Right. And you were trying to help, but the whole conversation just ends up colder than when it started. And you're just left there thinking, wait, what? What just happened? I was trying to be nice.
It's a universally painful feeling. And in the stack of research we're looking at today, one source, ElderlyWisdomMind, they actually have a name for this that just really stopped me in my tracks.
Oh, wait.
They call it the quiet heartbreaks of aging.
The quiet heartbreaks.
Yeah. Wow.
That phrase, it does a lot of heavy lifting. It sounds so poetic, but also just incredibly sad.
It really does, because it's not about the big explosive fights, the door slamming arguments. It's about that specific pain of giving your whole heart to something you say, but having it land completely wrong. It's like you're trying to build a bridge, but the words you choose actually make the gap wider.
The tragedy of translation.
That's it, exactly.
And that is our whole mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack that translation error. We've got some really fascinating insights here that break down this exact dynamic. We're going to look at 3 very specific, very common phrases.
No, they're so common.
Right. Phrases parents say to their adult kids. And honestly, I think we're all guilty of using versions of these, whether it's with our parents or friends or partners.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't some obscure psychological jargon. This is the bread and butter of family conversations.
They seem harmless, right?
Yeah.
They even seem loving. But the analysis shows they can just quietly dismantle a bond, and we don't even see it happening.
They're like termites in the foundation.
That's a great way to put it.
And I think it's really important to set the table here. The goal of this isn't to make anyone feel guilty.
Right.
If you hear these and think, oh, I said that last week, don't panic. The source really emphasizes that we're all still learning, whether we're 30 or 80. This is about bridging that gap between intent, which is almost always love, and the impact, which unfortunately often feels like judgment.
Right. Moving from guilt to kindness. Okay, so let's get into the first disconnect. This is arguably the biggest one, the eternal battle between trust and control. And the phrase is, I only want what's best for you.
It's a classic. I'm pretty sure it's printed on the handbook they give you when you leave the hospital with a baby. It's the parental motto.
It might be. And let's be fair to the parents for a second. Let's look at the intent. Usually this phrase comes out in a moment of genuine, high-stakes concern.
Absolutely. It's not said when everything's going great. The source material points out it's actually a stress response. It's anxiety.
Okay, so when?
Well, maybe the adult child is making a decision that genuinely scares the parent. Quitting a stable job, marrying someone they have reservations about, moving across the country.
The parent sees a threat.
A huge threat. And the instinct is to protect. It's primal. So they say, I only want what's best for you. It's like they're trying to wrap their child in bubble wrap.
But, and this is the key, let's put on the listener's ears now.
Yeah.
The adult child's ears. How does that sentence actually land on a 30-year-old?
Yeah.
Well, putting myself in those shoes, it feels like what you're really saying is, I don't know what's best for me. It feels dismissive.
Yeah.
Like my compass is broken.
Precisely. That is the fundamental disconnect. To the adult child, it doesn't sound like support. It implies incompetence. It translates to, I don't trust your judgment.
Or even worse, you're disappointing me by not doing what I would do.
Yes. And it's interesting you say that, because the phrase, I want what's best for you, implies there's this one objective best.
And the parent knows what it is.
And the parent holds the map. The source uses this metaphor about steering the ship. When kids are little, parents have to be the captains, right? A 5-year-old can't steer.
Right, you'd hit an iceberg in about 30 seconds.
Exactly. But when you say this to an adult, it signals you haven't transitioned your role. You're still trying to be the captain of their ship. You haven't noticed they have their own license now.
You're grabbing the wheel while they're already on the highway doing 70.
Yes. And that just makes the child swerve away from you. It creates resistance because you're threatening their autonomy.
So how do we avoid that crash?
Yeah.
Because a parent can't just stop caring. You can't just flip a switch and turn off the worry.
No, and you shouldn't have to. The shift here is really subtle, but it's so powerful. It's a move from control to trust. You keep all the love, you just drop the control.
Okay, so what do you say?
The suggested alternative is, I trust you to choose what's right for your life, and I'm always here if you need me.
I trust you to choose what's right for your life.
Right.
Just hearing that.
Notice the difference.
Yeah, it feels so much lighter. It feels like oxygen.
It is later because it releases the burden of the outcome. It signals two really important things. First, I see you as an adult. It validates them. And second, and this is crucial, my love is not conditional on you making the choice I would make.
That's the kicker, isn't it? Unconditional love versus conditional approval. I only want what's best for you feels like approval's pending.
Yes.
I trust you feels like love is already there no matter what.
Exactly. The alternative builds confidence. It says, I'm on your team, even if I don't totally get the play you're running. The original phrase actually undermines confidence. It introduces doubt.
It's like saying, I believe in your ability to figure this out, which is probably the highest form of respect you can give another adult. It's so empowering.
It really is. You become a consultant instead of a manager. And people listen to consultants a lot more than they listen to micromanagers.
That is a fact. Okay, let's pivot to the second one. And I have to say, reading the notes on this one hurts my heart a little. It's about loneliness versus guilt. And the phrase is, you never call me.
Yeah, this is a very tender one. And it's one that just creates this vicious cycle.
The source mentions parents often say it casually, with a sigh or a half laugh. Oh, haven't heard from you in weeks, you never call. But underneath all that, it's not a joke, is it? It's heavy.
It's not a joke at all. The root of this is profound loneliness. It's a parent realizing that daily connection they used to have when the kids were in the house is just gone. They miss their child.
It's a plea for connection.
It's a cry for help, really, and here's the tragedy again. It almost never lands that way. Doesn't sound like I miss you.
No, it lands like an accusation. It lands like you are failing.
You're a bad son. You're a bad daughter.
Exactly. And that just triggers shame. And if we look at basic psychology, when you attach shame to something, do you want to do more of it?
No way. You avoid it, you run. It's like touching a hot stove.
Right. So if every time you think about picking up the phone, you anticipate feeling guilty or getting scolded, you're just not going to pick it up. Shame is a repellent.
It pushes people further away. So the parent is trying to pull the child closer. That's the intent. But the tool they're using, guilt, is literally pushing them out the door.
The phone call paradox. The more you demand the call, the less likely you are to get it.
Yeah.
Which makes the parent feel more ignored, so they lay on more guilt.
And the child pulls away even more. It's a downward spiral. It just breaks the bond because the child stops sharing things just to avoid the judgment.
So how do we stop the spiral? How do you ask for that connection without the guilt trip?
You use positive reinforcement. You reward the behavior you want to see. The gentle alternative that's suggested is so simple. It's, I love hearing your voice. It really brightens my day.
That's it. I love hearing your voice. It sounds almost too simple.
It sounds simple, but think about the emotional weight. There's no obligation in there. There's no scorekeeping. It's just pure warmth.
You know why that works? It makes calling feel like a gift I'm giving you instead of a debt I'm paying off.
That's a brilliant way to put it. Duty versus love. You never call demands duty. I love hearing your voice. Invites love. People naturally want to go where they're celebrated, not where they're judged.
Go where you are celebrated.
Oh.
That's a life motto right there. And it has to change the energy of the actual call, too.
Oh, completely. If I call you out of guilt, I'm just trying to get off the phone, I'm checking a box. But if I call because I know you actually enjoy it, I'm going to stay on the line. I'm going to tell you about my day.
It changes the whole thing from a transaction to a relationship. That's huge. Okay, let's unpack the third one. This is about wisdom versus comparison. And the phrase is the classic preamble to every lecture.
Ah, yes.
When I was your age...
The uphill both ways in the snow opener.
Right. When I was your age, I had a mortgage and 3 kids, and interest rates were 18%, and I never complained.
And again, let's look at the intent. It's usually noble. The parent has endured so much, recessions, loss, sacrifice. They have this huge library of survival data in their head.
They're trying to say, I survived and you can too. They're trying to offer perspective.
Exactly. Resilience. But we're living in a completely different operating system now. The world is so different than it was 40 years ago. So how does that phrase land on a younger person today?
Not well?
No. To a young person who is, arguably part of the most burned out generation we've seen, facing all this digital pressure, housing crises, when I was your age, sounds like minimization.
It feels like you're saying, my hard was harder than your hard, so just suck it up.
Yes. It invalidates their struggle. It sets up a me versus you dynamic instead of an us together. It turns into a competition of suffering.
The Suffering Olympics.
Yeah.
And nobody wins that.
Nobody. It just shuts down listening. The second a young person hears, when I was your age, the defenses go up. They just think, you don't get it. They feel lectured, not heard.
So how do you share that wisdom? Because you don't want to lose it. The older generation does have valuable experience. How do you share it without it sounding like a lecture?
You turn it into an offering, not a directive. The source suggests what they call the doorway approach.
Okay.
You say, I remember facing something kind of similar. Would you like to hear what helped me through it?
Would you like to hear?
Uh-huh.
That asking for permission, that's the key, isn't
It
it?
is everything. It respects their autonomy. They have the right to say, you know what, not right now, I just need to vent. And that's okay. But by asking, you change the whole dynamic. It becomes a doorway they can choose to walk through.
And honestly, if someone asks me that, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say yes. Because now I'm curious.
They usually will, because now it's a story, not a command. Stories connect generations. Unsolicited advice divides them.
Yeah.
If you share a story about your own vulnerability, you're building a bridge.
It levels the playing field. It makes you an ally. It changes it from I did it better to I struggle too.
Exactly. It creates empathy, not distance.
Now, before we wrap this part up, there was a bonus tip I found really actionable. It's about a specific trigger word, the word should.
Ah, the toxic S word, you should.
You should do this. You should have done that. Why is that word so poisonous?
Because any sentence that starts with you should is, by its nature, a correction. It implies there's one right way, my way, and you're currently doing it the wrong way.
Even if the advice is good.
Even if the advice is solid gold. The psychological reaction is what we call reactance.
Reactance, what's that?
It's that immediate urge to do the exact opposite of what someone tells you, just to prove you have freedom of choice. It's the don't tell me what to do reflex.
Oh, I have that. If someone tells me I should watch a show, I almost actively don't want to watch it anymore.
That's it, exactly. So the fix is to replace that judgment with curiosity. Instead of, you should do X, you try asking, have you thought about X?
Or, what are you leaning toward? I like that one. It puts the ball back in their court.
It invites them to think. It helps them process their own logic instead of just shutting down yours. And in that space, real connection can actually grow.
So when we look at all of these together, from I want what's best to I trust you, from you never call to I love your voice,
Yeah.
there's a really clear pattern here, isn't there?
There is. The source calls it a shift toward a philosophy of grace.
A philosophy of grace. That sounds almost spiritual. Unpack that for us.
It's a mindset shift. It's about replacing judgment with curiosity, replacing correction with compassion, and replacing guilt with grace. We have to remember that our adult children are still growing. They're not finished products. But here's the beautiful part the source points out. We, as parents and elders, we're still growing too.
We're all still baking. Nobody's out of the oven yet.
That's a great way to put it. And when we speak with that kind of patience, the result is beautiful. The tension just drops. The kids start to open up. They start to call. They start to listen.
Not because they have to, but because they want to.
Yes, because you've become a safe place for them, a safe harbor, not a courtroom. And in a world that is so full of judgment, we all need a safe harbor.
That's what we all want, ultimately, for our families to be the place where we can drop the armor.
Exactly.
So for everyone listening, maybe you're the parent who just said, you never call last week, and you're kind of wincing right now. Or you're the adult child who bristles every time your dad says, you should. What can we do, like, right now? How do you break the ice?
It's hard, but the source offers this lovely low-stakes action. You don't need a big dramatic conversation. Just send a message today, a text.
What should it say?
Something simple and unconditional, like, I'm thinking of you, I'm proud of who you've become, I'm here.
I'm proud of who you've become. That's powerful.
It validates them for who they are, not just what they do.
And then what?
Right.
After you hit send, because that's when the anxiety kicks in.
And then you wait, you just leave space. Don't demand a reply, don't double text, just let it land.
That's the hard part, letting it land.
It is. But it reminds us that it's never too late to choose new words. If you've been using these phrases for 20 years, it's okay. You can change the script today. Perfection isn't the goal. Intention is.
It's about finding those growing edges.
Yep.
I love that term from the source. We all have them, whether we're 25 or 75.
We do. And I want to leave you with one final thought from the material that has really stayed with me.
Okay.
Love doesn't rush.
Love doesn't rush.
We panic sometimes. We want to fix the relationship now, but often the softest words echo the loudest. You just You have to give them time to echo.
It's not about fixing everything overnight. It's about planting a seed of trust and just letting it grow.
That's it. It starts with a single sentence.
Well, this is giving me a lot to think about. It's amazing how just a slight tweak in a few words can change the entire emotional landscape.
It really is. It's the difference between building a wall and opening a door.
So, as you go about your day, think about those communication habits. Where are your growing edges? And maybe send that text. I'm thinking of you. I'm proud of you. And just see what happens.
It might be the start of something wonderful.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you next time.